Good evening, Art Party Online participants. Welcome to our sunflower on board painting that we're going to be doing tonight. For those of you who have never done this before, it's going to be awesome, first of all, and I'm going to go through what you should have as far as your supplies. Pretty simple tonight. All five again? Yep. All five paints again. So we've got, and by the way, we sell these kits. It's paints every time. You don't need anything special. You just need black, white, yellow, and blue paint. Tonight we have 3 brushes: the large, medium, small. We have a little glass of water to rinse off and wash off the brushes. And a couple plates for mixing and for your napkins. You need the napkins as well. And obviously canvas. So I am hoping that you have, some sort of canvas. It can be a regular canvas that we've been painting all week, or tonight we're going to try the pine, and he's actually going to do both pine and barn board tonight at the same time, just so that, because it is a little bit of a different texture and it might look a little different, and we want it to be as clear for everybody at home as possible. With that said, a technical description or information about the stream itself. Hopefully everything goes smooth. Sometimes it doesn't and we have to restart. Just refresh the videos page once we get going again. But don't worry, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to make sure that it gets completed. I don't think there's going to be any issue tonight. Hopefully not. But if there is, you can certainly refresh it. But also, feel free, if it's going a little too fast, or if you need a break, or if you're going to go have a drink, which I hope you have something, you can always pause it. You can pause it. In fact, you can restart it. You can rewind it. It's really great that way, so make use of those if you need to. And is everybody excited to paint the sunflower? I hope so. We're going to do a little trivia. We're going to have some fun. And without further ado, the brightest flower that's ever shone in the Sean?
Yeah.
At the Art Party Studio. Damon Roberts, welcome to our studio.
All right, so I hope you guys are excited as I am to paint a sunflower. I think we're ready to go. If you guys haven't noticed, I love my job. This is something. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, that's for sure. Okay, so yes, we should have our 3 paintbrushes. We're going to start off with our large brush, biggest one you got. And whatever you're painting on, this thing's hard to move in. I'm on, by the way, so
you have to leave it
we
on.
have to. With our large brush, we're going to start our background. Now the background on this, we're going to start off in the center with some blue and white on our brush at the same time, going up and down. All right. Then when we get most of that covered, by the end, with that same brush, still with the blue and white on it, we're going to start taking a little bit of black, and we're going to bring that down from the top and up from the bottom. And we're going to be doing that on both pieces here. The reason we're doing it on both pieces is because, yes, the barn board, it's a lot grittier, it's got a lot more texture to it, and it sucks up the paint, so it is going to look a little bit different. All right, but you'll see both. It'll be nice and rough. All right. So, with that large brush, we're going to dip it in a little bit of blue and some white at the same time. So I have both of them on my brush. And nice long streaks. Oh, flower's getting in the way. Nice long streaks up and down. Want it nice and streaky. Just going back and forth, picking up some blue and some white. Again, you can be doing this on canvas, on cardboard. We saw somebody paint the unicorn on a paper plate. That was pretty cool. Nice long brush strokes. And they're all going to look a little different. With background, it's always going to look a little different. My pedals are getting in the way of my arm here. We'll struggle through this. We'll struggle through it. I'm still just using blue and white, and I may be moving a little bit quicker than you are, but that's because I have two of them to do. If at any point we're moving a little too quick, you can pause, you can rewind the live video. Alrighty. So I've got some blue and white through most of my board. Some blue and white on your brush. You're going to start picking up tiny little bits of black. Little bits of time. You can, okay? We're going to start bringing that down from the top. So I'm just picking up some more white and a tiny bit of blue. We're just looking to make the outsides a little bit darker. Again, it's going to look different every time you do it. That's fine.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of folks that probably have like a different, different sizes. Some people have a really large size, I think, from what I'm seeing online. So, you know, we'll take our time here, and you've got to do two, by the way. So, you're obviously so.
Yes, no rush. And after I do the background
no
on
rush,
these
guys.
two, after I do this background, we'll take a little break and let everybody get caught up. This is just our background, our base coat. I'm going to build on top of this. I'm still going with just little bits of black and blue. Tiny touches of white. We're just making the sides, the top, just a little bit darker. Nice long brush strokes, just going up and down. Little bits at a time. All right, there's one. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to do the barn board one. Again, we're going to start with a little bit of white and blue. You can see right off that first brush stroke, that barn board really soaks up the wood. This one's going to look a little bit more rustic. Usually what we do with barn board, when we're painting them here, is we don't paint it completely. You see this pine one, how it's completely covered in the front? The barn board, we usually leave it a little bit rough around the edges. This barn board, we want it to look a little rustic. So I'm going to do that with this one. I want to keep some of that character from the barn board.
You're a character, all right, David.
Gotta have fun.
Not one person disagrees with me.
I think they're enjoying it.
No question. No question.
I'm still going nice and streaky with this barn board. Little bits at a time.
We're going streaking.
Streaking!
KFC still open? No, KFC is not open anymore. Actually, maybe it is.
I don't know. And then when I get to the sides of this barn board, still using a little bit of blue and white and just picking up little bits of black. Basically the same way we did the other one. We're just not going to cover it completely. I will get out of the way in a second. I know my flower might be blocking a little bit of this. There we go. The first coat on barn board generally takes a little bit longer to dry as well. So it's good to fan it dry. See our pine board over here, that one's already dry. Our barn board, that's going to be wet for a little bit. So we'll take a little break, let everybody get caught up on that because we're all doing different sizes. And we're going to let our barn board dry for a little bit. Now I'm going to go get some water. Alrighty. I'm going to fan my barn board for a minute to help it along. But I just want to repeat that part with the black. So we took our large brush, did blue and white up and down through the center till we covered most of that board. Then with that same brush, we still had blue and white on it. And we just picked up tiny bits of black at a time, and we brushed that on, still going up and down. So it's not solid black. If you have a solid black line, and that's still wet, all you have to do is wipe your brush off on your towel, pick up a little bit more blue and white, and go over top of it, stretch it out. And that should get rid of that black line. Alright, I'm going to fan this for a minute. Len, do we have any trivia? I know I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Just let me arrange here and I'll get something. I'll ask you a question. For sure. But you're doing such a good job of fanning.
Oh, thank you. You could just sit and watch me dry.
Literally, watch paint dry. No, we'll get some trivia. We'll ask the crowd if you answer. I'm just gonna organize this a little better. All right, quick trivia question. I'll slide in here, making sure we keep our social distance away. Trivia question for you. 30% of single people refuse to date someone who has one of these. What is it? Write it in the comments. I want to see how many people get the right answer. Dana, what's your guess?
Don't know. That's a hard one.
It is a good one.
There's so many.
Yeah.
So many things it could be.
You're just on a little drying break there.
Yeah, we can let that dry for another minute and let people get caught up there.
All right.
Basil. Alrighty. So our paintings should be dry.
No, I'm laughing because somebody said 30% of people will not date someone that has this. Somebody said a bad haircut. That is great. An accordion. That is a great answer.
Nice.
We got a mustache. That is.
Nobody's said a sunflower yet, so I mean, that's good. Okay.
A sunflower plant.
Our next step. You can do this with a piece of chalk if you like, or I'm just going to lightly put it in with some paint so that you can see it. We're going to make a circle, and it does not have to be perfect. Okay? This is just a guideline. This circle is going to be so that we know where to put petals. That's it. And we'll be able to tweak it afterwards. So with my medium brush, I'm going to take a couple of scoops of white. I'm going to take a little bit more because I have 2 of them to do. And into that white, we're going to add some yellow. Stir it together.
All right. The answer to the trivia question.
What is it?
30% of people will not date someone if they have a cat.
A cat. Alrighty.
Yeah. Learn something new.
There we go. So we took some white and we added yellow into it. So we made this pale yellow. We're going to need that afterwards. So I took a little bit of my pale yellow and I moved some over here on my mixing plate. And we're going to add just a little tiny bit of red into it, just a touch. Gives us this really pale orange. Now this is going to be just a first coat on our flower, so don't worry. Our second coat we're going to be using the pale. We're going to be hiding some of this. So again, we started off with pale yellow by taking some white and adding some yellow to it. Then I took a little bit of that somewhere else on my plate and added just a little pinprick of red. So we have this pale orange. Now we got to figure out where we want our sunflower to go. And we're going to do a light little circle. Let's see. It's always better to start off a little bit smaller than you think it should be with this circle because you can make it bigger. We're going to go somewhere in here. Now I'll put mine on and then I'll move out of the way. I know this this wonderful headpiece is in the way. So I'll do a step and then I'll move out of the way. You guys can get a good view of that. So I put a little circle on there. Now we can make that bigger if we need to. That's just so we know where to put petals. After we have that little circle on there, we're going to start putting in our petals. I'm going to outline mine first with this color. Again, making them a little bit smaller than you think they should be because we're going to fill it in and we can make them bigger. So I'm going to outline a couple and then I'll stand back, get my petals out of the way. They don't have to be perfectly shaped petals. It's a flower. Every flower grows a little different. Some flowers a little bigger, some a little smaller. These ones are going to go over the edges of my board. Nice big flower today. And you can put as many as you like. Some flowers have a ton of petals. So I'm just lightly putting these in with some lines first. And then we will fill them in. After we fill it in, I always like to stand back and see if we got to change the shape of any of the petals. But you can't really tell until you fill them in. All right, there's petals on one. Put petals on the other guy. Again, working on the barn board is going to be a little bit different because of how rough it is. It's got all those grooves in it. Paint likes to sit in those. You can see I've got a little bit of blue in mine. There's a little blob of blue sitting in one of these. That's all right. This is just our first coat. There, so I got some petals on. Then we're going to fill them in. Again, thin coat so that it dries. We're going to fill it all in, everything in here, even that circle.
Okay, another trivia question.
All right, another trivia while we're filling this in.
All right. In Mexico, whom, by the way, are doing a great job of self-isolating and keeping their distances, their numbers are very low, so hopefully they're good to go for all our all-inclusive needs here as soon as all this is over. In Mexico, in parts of Mexico, I should say, it is illegal to drive while doing this. That's going to open up a whole can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's illegal to do this while driving. I'm going just to leave it there and see what kind of interesting answers we get.
We should
maybe
get
throw a hint out there in a bit.
We should get some interesting ones from that.
I think so. Muriel asks, is it just yellow to fill, or is it the light orange mix?
It's the light orange mix that I'm using to fill. We're saving that light yellow for afterwards. So this is the light orange mix that we made. That's what we're filling in these petals with first.
All right, got some
Do you have some guesses?
smoking. It's not smoking, not eating. Singing. Not illegal to sing, although, you know, maybe for some people it should be. Eating. I'm going to say, give a hint that it is part of a daily routine.
I'm going to guess shaving.
It's a good guess.
Yeah.
Part of a daily routine.
Get it all filled in. I'll move out of the way in a sec. I was just taking a step back, see if we need to change the shape of any of these petals. You do what makes you happy with that. It's a flower.
Any hints for if somebody was looking at it and it looked like yellow in our cameras and they put it all with yellow, and they go over it again with a little bit of like an orange mix? Or
I wouldn't stress about that. I wouldn't stress about that at all. Okay? Because this is just our first coat on the flower. We have to do another coat later on with some pale yellow. So if it's not looking orangey right now, don't worry. I'm getting rid of most of this orangey in mine afterwards. All right? After we have that filled in, so it's all filled in, thin coat, we're going to let that dry and we're going to do some work on our stem. And for our stem and leaves, we need to make green. Whenever you're mixing colors, I always like to say you start with your lighter color first. So with green, it's yellow and blue, which means we're going to start with yellow. Yellow is lighter than blue. So we're going to take a couple of scoops of yellow over to our mixing plate. And we're going to add little bits of blue at a time. Because again, you can always add more blue, but just little bits at a time.
We've had enough.
Got a lot of good guesses.
A lot of good guesses. And I'm. Oh. All right. We had one right answer in the comments and one right answer by our artist.
It is shaving?
It is shaving. Yes,
Sweet.
it is.
I didn't cheat, guys. I swear. I did not know that one.
No, he doesn't cheat. That's almost the first one you've gotten right.
It is. It is. It is the first one. Okay. So
Daily routine, though. I mean, how many daily routines? After I gave that hint, I thought, wait a minute now, that was kind of dumb.
Well, the first thing that popped into my head was brushing your teeth.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But we've got that green. We're going to do a first coat of green on here. So with a medium brush, I'm going to use the skinny side. Unless you're doing a small little piece, if you're doing something really small, you're going to want to use your little brush. You just have more control over it. So we're going to put in the stem. Let me see. Try to get out of the way here. Come on. The flower's staying on, so we're going to make this work. Just green. I got a nice stem right here. Then we have to add a nice big leaf. So I'll outline mine. Then I'll wait a minute so you guys can see it. Just a really big leaf. If you're wondering how to make a leaf, you always think basic shapes. Basic shapes for anything. So take a look at this basic shape. This leaf, it's just an upside down teardrop. And then we're going to fill it in. Still using just green right now. And then there's part of one on the other side. This guy goes over our edge a little bit. We got our two leaves. We got one here, a little upside down teardrop, and this guy over here that hangs over the edge. Give you a minute, I'm going to do the stem and leaves on my other one. With the barn board one, I'm not going to take the stem all the way down to the edge. I'm going to leave it a little rough. As you can see, we left some of the edge nice and rough, showing the wood. This guy's a little bit more rustic. It's the same idea. We just wanted to show you how doing it on something different, it's going to be the same painting, but they are going to look different. And that's perfectly fine.
What does USDA stand for? United States Department of Agriculture?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Next trivia question. For those of you who can hear me, that are listening in, I want to know, the USDA said the average American, yes, this is an American question, on average, eats 250 of these a year. What is it?
250 of these. That's not a very high number.
No, it's not. It's not even one a day. But there's not, God.
Well, yeah.
How many things would you eat once a day? Not many. I feel like this is somewhat.
250 of these a year. All right, I'm going to take another guess here.
I think this one's easier. Go ahead.
Oreos.
Okay, that's your guess.
I'm going to guess Oreos.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we added our stems and our leaves. There's another thing we got to do with this green. And you can use your little brush if you like. If you feel a little bit more comfortable with that. I'm going to keep with my medium brush, just using the skinny side. We're going to add a couple little, I like to call them curly cues. A couple little curly cues coming off of our stem here. There's not too much rhyme or reason to these. You can put them wherever you like. But there's two. One down here and one up here. Just little curly cues. And same with on the barn board. Go. Let me step out of the way here. We got some answers.
We do have some answers. We have a lot of the right ones by the looks of things. A lot of wrong ones.
Did I get it wrong this time?
Yes, you absolutely got it wrong.
I tried. I can't win them all.
All right. The answer,
Let's hear it.
eggs.
Eggs.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is that like just eggs, or like eggs included in like bread and bacon?
Eggs total. I think eggs total, and I think that's about, that.
Yeah.
I probably have more than that,
Yeah.
but yeah, in total. I mean, how many days most people go without having eggs, and then they have a bunch on the weekend?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Okay, so we all got our stem in with some green. We're going to do two more things before we take a little break to let it dry so you can get caught up. But if I am moving a little too quick, like I said before, you can pause the video, you can rewind it. It's all good. But we're going to use that pale yellow that we made. And we're going to use a touch of white. So we're going to have both of them on our brush. And we're going to paint in our petals. We're going to leave it nice and streaky. Right. Best example I can give you is actually right here on mine. Where's my petals? There's a petal. But you see how it's streaky with some yellow and some white? That's what we're doing to these petals. So we got the pale yellow on our brush and a little bit of white. And nice quick brush strokes. We're hiding most of that orange, but you'll still be able to see a little bit through it. We put that on there so that we get some depth to these petals. So I've got a little bit of both on my brush. Pale yellow, some white. We're just going over the petals, one at a time. We don't want a solid color. That's why we're using pale yellow and some white. Quick, short little brush strokes. See how it gives you that little bit of texture, a little bit of depth to them? That's what we're looking for. We're hiding most of that orange, but you can still see a touch of it through. You might not be able to on the camera there, but this is why I was saying if it wasn't orange on that first coat, not a big deal. We're hiding most of it anyways. One petal at a time, just working our way around.
Heather Brown mentions, kudos to you for not only painting, instructing, but also wearing the large cardboard flower at the same time. Kudos to you, David.
It's a little bit harder than I thought it would be. When I made this,
Yep.
I didn't think it through. But we're sticking with it. We're going to power through. Thank you.
Okay, let's give them another, while they're doing this, I want to give them another trivia question.
Yeah,
This is a
fire
good
it
one.
off.
All right. So, for everyone listening, I would like to know, families will send each other more than 10,000 text messages each year. Families will.
What?
Yeah. This is the number one subject. What is it? The number one subject that families text each other over the course of a year.
That's a tricky one.
I don't know if I want to know your answer yet.
What are you saying, bud?
Shady answers.
No shady answers. There's kids watching.
Just shady questions.
Just shady questions. Yes. So I'm still just using that pale yellow and bits of white. Going over top of my flower, leaving it nice and streaky. We want that. I'm going to do the same to the barn board, and then I'll step out of the way for a minute. And then we have one more thing to do with our stem before we take a break, let it dry, let people get caught up.
A lot of good guesses.
A lot of good guesses.
And I will say some right answers. Not all.
Okay.
Some correct answers.
Still just the pale yellow and some white. Going over those leaves, hiding most of that orange. That'll be a nice second coat. And it's got a lot of texture to it. That's what we want. Lots of texture. So I'll give you guys just a minute to finish that before we do our stems, and we'll take a bit of a longer break after that.
The answer to the trivia question, 10,000 text messages a year for between families, and all they want to know is, well, what to eat. That's it. Some people got that.
Okay, anyway, let's get going. We're going to use our clean medium brush. We're going to use some of the green that we made and a little touch of white. So we're going to be doing some blending on our stems. It's pretty easy. We're going to do one piece at a time. So we're going to do the stem, just the line. Then we're going to do one of the leaves. Then we're going to do the other one. The way we do that is with our medium brush and some green. We're going to paint that stem again. Just nice and quick, thin coat. We want that paint to be wet. Quiet down back there.
Honest to God, I'm sorry.
So I painted just the stem green again. While that green is still wet, we're going to take a little tiny bit of white on our brush, and we're just going to blend it into the right-hand side. Can we see how that gives us a little accent? The right-hand side turns a lighter green. We're going to do the same thing to the leaves. We're first going to paint it in with green. And then while that green's still wet, we're going to take a tiny bit of white. We're going to blend a little bit of white in there. Now a bunch of this leaf will be hidden, but just a little bit. And same with the other one. And I have a bit of that green and white on my brush, so I'm just going to accent my little curly cues. We'll make them stand out a touch more. These ones, I didn't worry about painting them green and then adding white. I just have green and white on my brush at the same time, and I just accented them, just quick little ones. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on the barn board. One piece at a time. Paint the stem with a little bit of green. Pick up a touch of white, and we're going to accent that right-hand side. We're going to take a little green and paint in our leaf. Then we're going to pick up a touch of white. Just blend in a touch. And accent those curly cues. When you're done with that, you want to clean out that medium brush, dry it off, get it nice and clean. And we'll give you guys a minute there before we keep moving forward.
Clear.
Okay. Let's go. So we're going to take our clean medium brush. And our petals should all be nice and dry now. So we're going to do a few accents on our petals. And this is going to be with just white. So just white, medium brush, a little bit at a time. And we're just going to accent the sides of the petals. Just a small amount of paint at a time. So whenever you pick some up, wipe it off. Okay, you don't need very much on your brush. And again, these are quick, short, little brush strokes. We're just adding some accents. We'll kind of define our petals a little bit more. Whoops.
All right, I actually want to know, since it's about 7:30, everybody's been in the house all day. I'm hoping this is a time for everybody to kind of relax a little bit. What is everybody having as a beverage right now? We got any wine drinkers? Do we got anybody with a soda? Do we have a beer drinker? Do we have? I'm just kind of curious on what everybody's doing.
Well, I have my
You have your
country
coffee.
style coffee.
Oh my goodness! Good.
No free ads.
I'm just gonna tag them and just get them to take a listen to how many free ads you're getting.
They've got good coffee. I got to keep them in business.
All right, buddy. All right. We've got a couple coffee drinkers, some water, ginger ale. Ooh, ginger ale. Gee, that sounds pretty good.
I'm just adding a little white accents into some of the sides of my petals. Just quick, short little ones. Just adding more dimension to it. And then you want to clean out that brush really well and dry it off. Because now we're going to be going to red. With a very little bit of this at a time. I'm going to use a medium brush. You can use a small if you like. It's just going to take a little bit longer. But with a very little bit of this at a time, I'm going to use the skinny edge. And we're going to do some short little brush strokes. Now, some of these we'll be able to hide when we put the center of our flower in. But roughly where that circle was, so I'm doing just short little brush strokes. It's coming out into the petal. Some longer, some shorter. Don't worry if you go in here, because that's going to get covered.
Call the cops.
There we go. Let's make it a little bit longer down here. So inside here, doesn't really matter. We're going to cover it. We can paint that whole thing red if we want. May as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on my barn board one.
People, a lot of different drinks. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. All right. Well, that said, I think it's time for another trivia question.
Yeah, let's let them finish that up and do some trivia.
All right. I like the line. I like the line of trivia questions we got right now. Okay. The average Canadian will use 20 gallons of this in a lifetime. It's vague, buddy. It's vague. Damon just gave me a look, and I can't take him serious because he got that sunflower around his head. So the average Canadian will use 20 gallons of this in their lifetime. See how they do. I might give a hint in a little bit. We'll
Paint.
See. It's not paint. We've used 20 gallons this week.
Very true, very true.
20 gallons of this.
Okay, while you guys are pondering that, let's keep going. Do we all still have a little bit of that pale yellow left? Just a little bit of it? If not, you can make some more. Just remember we started with white, and then we added a little bit of yellow to it. So
all this talking about drinks, I think I have to. There, time to join.
So with my medium brush and the pale yellow, we're going to start adding some on top of our petals. And again, short, rough brush strokes. These are not perfect. We're not looking to make it all straight and whatnot. Stand over here. See how far. There we go.
You're getting some fantastic answers.
Fantastic answers.
Maple syrup. I
Oh.
love that answer.
Only 20 gallons in their lifetime? Come on.
Now I want some maple syrup.
Oh, you know what I miss is maple syrup on a stick.
Yeah,
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice and hot, and then you put it in cold.
Yeah.
Some other answers, popular answers: ketchup, shampoo, body wash. Haven't seen the right answer yet, but it's very close. Don't Google it, because that's no fun.
They said we're close, so that gives me a hint.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I may know what it is.
I'll give a hint. We use it every day. Love it.
So we're just adding some of these pale yellow streaks into our petals. Again, nice and rough. We're not looking for straight lines. It's a flower. Every flower is different. There. So while you guys are pondering that trivia question for a couple minutes, we'll take a little drying break. We'll let people get caught up there. And I'm going to go check out and see what kind of answers we got for this one. And we're good.
Yeah.
So Len,
Yeah.
what is the answer to the trivia question?
20, did I say 20 gallons
20
of this?
gallons of this.
Every year. And I
Every
see
year?
Every year. Oh, sorry, no, lifetime. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of toothpaste.
Toothpaste.
I think the hint gave it away pretty good. Yeah. Good job, everyone.
Right on. Toothpaste.
20 gallons of toothpaste.
That's a fair amount. Fair amount.
Yeah.
There. Alright, so we're getting close to being finished our flour here. It's not going to take too much long. A couple more steps. We're going to take our clean medium brush and just a little bit of white. In the same way that we accented the petals, we're going to accent on top of the leaves. So it's quick, short, little brush strokes. Little bits of white. There we go. So again, white, quick, short little brush strokes, little accents to the leaves, right where we put that pale yellow. And then we have to do the center of our flower. So make sure that brush is clean. We're going to do the center with a couple of colors. I'll explain it before I show you and we do it. Are we on mute?
No.
Okay.
No. I just have the drying break sign up there.
Oh.
Okay. It's gone now. You're good now.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Usually when he panics like that,
I agree.
we're
I
on
agree.
mute
Usually
and
we
then I
have
have to repeat
yeah.
everything
We're
I
not
just said.
Yeah. Getting better at my mistakes.
That's all right. Okay, so with the medium brush, we're going to do the center of our flower. We're going to dab, so it's just light little dabs of black first. Then we're going to clean off that brush, and we're going to do little bits of red and white. Now with the black, we're not just covering the whole center black. I'm going to dab mine on first, and you'll see I'm going to leave like a little circle without black dabs. I'm picking up a little bit of paint, and we're just going to dab. Little brush strokes, or sorry, little dabs of black paint. It's easy. I'm just putting my paintbrush on, taking it off. On, taking it off. Little dabs of black. Again, we start a little bit smaller than we think it should be. See, I'm not going to the outside of my red streaks, because that right there is not a black circle. It's kind of ovalish, it's off center. We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that right now. Doing a few more little dabs, rounding it out. Just dabs going over top of our red here. And then in the center. step back here, make sure that's actually a circle. Little dabs, not a brush stroke. Stand back, make sure that one's a circle. Pretty close that time. Are you gonna fix it? So you can see I left a little bit without black. That's because you're going to clean out your brush. You're going to wipe it off. We're going to take a little bit of red. We're going to dab there. Now we want to leave some little clumps of paint because that's going to give it some more texture. We don't want this to be too smooth. And because our black is wet, our red kind of mixes into it. And then we pick up a tiny touch of white. Now I'll wait a minute and repeat this on the barn board one. So now I have some of that red and a tiny touch of white. And we're dabbing. So that our flower center has some texture. We don't want it all one color. How's that? That looks alright. So we're going to do the same thing on our barn board one, where the black is still a bit wet. We're going to take some red first. We're going to do some dabbing. And because our black is wet, gives us a couple of colors of red there. And then we take a tiny touch of white, still with red on our brush. And we're just dabbing. Giving the center of our flower some texture so it doesn't look too flat. Take your time with that. But whenever you're done the center of the flower, the center of the flower,
I'll dab that with the black paint here shortly.
If you guys didn't laugh at that, read the back of my shirt. Okay. When you're done with the center of your flower, you have to do the most important step, which is...
Sign that flower!
sign that flower!
Yeah,
And that's it. I'm actually really impressed that this stayed on the whole time.
Yeah, we did well.
I apologize if it was in the way at all. I tried to step out of the way there as much as I could. But I think that's about it for me. And see how they both look so different? Even though we painted both of them at the same time? That's because of what we painted them on. So it doesn't matter what you paint on, we can still get a nice product out. Thank you.
All right. Big thanks to our sunflowery Damon for doing up the paintings. I hope yours look something like this. These look absolutely amazing. And thank you very much for joining us on our what day is today? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday evening. Hard to believe. I think it was a week ago today that we started doing these, and If you don't know, you can go to the videos tab of our Facebook site and backlog or backtrack and watch any of the other ones at any time as well, including this one. So this will be part of that archive very shortly. We've got lots of supplies, as I said before, so if you need anything, let us know. We're scheduling pickups, and to be safe, it's all sort of ready for you when you get to the door. There's no interaction or anything. Because we're taking that obviously quite seriously. On the same hand, we're trying to bring some light and fun to your evening, and I hope we've done that tonight. Again, thanks to Damon, and thank you for watching. And have a great evening, folks. Thanks.